If you want dark brown eggs, Barnevelder, Moran's, Rhode Island, Gold Sex Link, Welsomer. And by the way, all of this is in my little book, The Backyard Chicken Fight, if you don't want to take notes and you want to dog-ear the pages, okay? And light brown, Brahma, Buff Orpington, Plymouth Rock, Black Sex Link, Wyandotte. Fun fact about the Moran, that's the one that lays the darkest colored egg, the dark, dark brown egg. And you'll see them listed as cuckoo Morans, okay? White eggs, Buff Minorca, Golden Campine, Leghorn, not Leghorn, like Foghorn Leghorn. They'll know you're a newbie if you say Leghorn, so Leghorn, okay? Silver Lockenvelder and Salmon Faverol. I had a Silver Lockenvelder, and I wrote about her, Hank, the wayward Lockenvelder. Dumbest chicken I've ever had. So if you want a charity case, get a Lockenvelder, okay? Also, Salmon Faverols, fun fact about those guys. Most of your chickens, this is Henrietta, she's been around the block. See the 3 toes? A Salmon Faverol has 4. Totally grossed out my teenage daughters. Okay, if you want blue, green, or pink eggs, Americanas and Aracanas are the chickens you're gonna look for. They call them Easter eggers sometimes, and now they're crossbreeding. They're crossbreeding an Araucana and a Moran, so a dark brown egg with a Moran, and they're getting these beautiful eggs that look like olives, you know, olive-colored eggs, and so they call them olive eggers. So it just keeps changing and changing because I think people really dig the different colors. And let's talk about that right now. I always recommend that when you get your chicks, you get one of each breed because each breed will lay a different color egg. And you can directly track your chicken's health through their egg production. All right? If Henrietta stops laying, you know something's up. She's either going into a molt or she is being obstinate or exactly. Yeah, you set the axe near the coop and you say 4 days, girl. 4 days. Or she's sick and you can address it that way. Okay? So you know, if you're not getting the olive colored eggs out of the coop, you know that something's going on, right? So, okay, Gretchen, what do I do when I walk out of D&B with these little babies that are just a day old? And most of the time they're just 2 or 3 days old when you get them. Here's the temperature guide. And each week you decrease it by 5 degrees, okay? Let me just talk about this picture. Girlfriend sent me this picture, would not keep my babies on newspaper. I'll show you in a minute what I like best. But what I do like about this picture is that the food is both in the heat, under the heat lamp, and outside the heat lamp. And they've made a mess of it right there, right? So you need to elevate that food. Even for your chicks, you have to elevate the food, right? We'll talk about that. And then all of it. And if you have questions, hold it because I'll probably answer it through this. And then the water outside the heat. Here's the deal. Let your chicks talk to you. So if you have a heat lamp with your babies, okay, and a brooder box, I use a cardboard box or a Sterilite container or anything I have in my garage. I put the heat lamp on them, and if they're all bunched up under the heat lamp, what does that tell you? It's too cold, right? So you need to lower that heat lamp. If they're like way far out, you're gonna fry your chicks, right? So you gotta bring it up a little bit. So unless you wanna put a thermometer right on the box at chick height, okay, which you can do, but I let the chicks talk to me. That's the easiest way to do it. And I'm a self-confessed lazy chicken keeper, so I'm gonna show you the secrets to, you know, just getting right in there and getting it done and no fuss, no muss, to make it easy on you. So there's that Sterilite container, right? And I took an old Amazon box, made it a loft. There's the food under the light. You can see the light there. I made a little roost out of a yardstick, and here's the water over here. See that little face right there? So cute. I think that's Thelma and Louise. Yeah, Thelma and Louise. My kids named them. So they have plenty of room here. I start teaching them how to roost at 2 weeks. Okay, when they're 2 weeks, when I've had them for 2 weeks, I start putting them on the little roost so they get used to it. So anything, you can brood your chicks anywhere. in anything. Just keep them warm enough, okay? And you brood them until they're feathered out, and that's usually 6 to 8 weeks. Does that help? Okay. So, yeah, Thelma and Louise, sex links. I had a friend say, why do they call them sex links? What a name. I said, well, the reason is when they hatch out, they're a hybrid chicken. They're crossbreed. And when they hatch out, you know which are the females and which are the males because their feather colors are linked to their gender. So that's why they call them sex links. And they're great chickens, great egg layers, and really nice chickens. So if you get a black sex link and a gold sex link, you're rocking it, okay? I like these pellets right here for chick bedding. The chicks can't eat it. They really can't scratch it into the food or the water. And then I clean it up with a cat, a little cat, what do you call those, cat spoons? Or yeah. And they break down, they're non-toxic, so I put them in the compost later. I'll pass that around.
How often do you do that?
You know, that's a good question. And so let's visit that. The question was, how often do you clean out that little brooder box? You all are going to have brooder boxes that are different sizes, right? Yeah. So you look in there, if there's lots of poop in there, clean it out. If it smells bad, clean it out. It's judgment. You know, don't let them run around in their own poop a lot because they'll get sick that way, okay? No corn cob bedding, no ground corn cob bedding. Chickens have a crop. Those of you who have chickens, you know there's this bulgy thing on their chest right here. You pick them up and you love on your chickens and you can feel this little bulgy thing. So it's right here. And what they do is they ingest their food. It goes down in and it goes to the crop. And if they do that with corn cob, ground corn cob, it doesn't break down. And they'll have an impacted crop and die. So stay away from that. Sometimes you see it because it is made of, it's a popular bedding. Okay, here come the feed guidelines. So when you walk out of the store, what do you need? 0 to 8 weeks chick starter. You'll find this here at D&B. And it has added protein for growth. So 0 to 8 weeks. If you still have some at 10 weeks, don't sweat it. Okay, keep feeding them until it's gone. And then switch to what they call a Pullet Developer, or I think there's another name for it. Jen, do you know the name of the, it's a lower protein. It's in between the chick starter and the lay pellets. There's a feed that you give your chickens. I've always called it Pullet Developer, but I think there's another name for it here. It's just a little less expensive, so it's a good thing. Sometimes you'll see chick starter that is medicated. And the only time I recommend medicated chick starter, you know, with the pre-medication so that we can keep them healthy, is if you have a lot of chicks, okay? A lot. I'd say 10 or more. If you have 10 or more chicks, because if one chick gets sick, it's likely that all of them are going to get sick. And that's a pretty good investment in little chicks already. So that's the only time I would do the medicated stuff. There's the Pullet Developer, less protein, 8 to 24 weeks. And 24 weeks is that magic number where they start laying eggs. And that's when you have to put them on lay pellets. 16%. I know. Aren't they cute? Girlfriend, those dogs don't even look like you. What are you thinking? I honestly, I have an Americana, and she's white. She's a creamy white. And then I breed Bichon Frisés, and they're little white dogs. Hardy little white dogs who think they're actually big dogs. And I think Hedwig just thinks she's a dog. She hangs out with them all the time. And then in the wintertime, switch to 20% protein in lay pellets. The wonderful thing about D&B, if you come in here and you have questions and you can't remember 16, 20%, what am I supposed to do? I know I'm supposed to bump up the protein in the wintertime. They'll help you, okay? That's the nice thing. Chickens will drop their feathers once a year. Once they get to about 12 months old, they will stop laying eggs. And that's why it's nice to have a chicken, where you know her color egg, right? And then you can start looking for feathers. And if you don't see feathers, then there's something else going on with her. So don't be alarmed. And it can happen anywhere on her body. Hedwig had a full-on molt right before a big party we were giving for my mother-in-law in the backyard. Looked like we killed a chicken. Feathers everywhere. And in October, and I'm thinking, girl, It's getting cold at night. You know, what are you thinking? Can't you do this in July? So you can also feed them treats. Cracked corn, remember this, cracked corn really only for winter and only if you want to bribe your chickens, okay? The reason I say that is cracked corn, when you feed them cracked corn, it elevates their body temperature. And chickens actually can fare better in the wintertime than they do in the summertime. So give them a little bit of cracked corn before they go to bed at night. In the wintertime, you'll get an egg the next day. I've proven it, because what that does is you fill up their crop. And they sit on the roost and they burn that all night long. And then you get an egg the next day. And I learned that from a person who attended one of my classes. They said, try it. And sure enough, it was great. So cracked corn, hen scratch. Hen scratch has some white wheat in it and some milo. It's mixed with other grains as well. And they like that just as much. And then kitchen scraps. My husband runs restaurants. He runs steak restaurants. And he was in, I want to say, the Nampa restaurant. And there was this old farmer. And he asked for a to-go box. And my husband was just making small talk. And he said, oh, you're going to take that home and have it for lunch tomorrow? And he said, no, I'm taking it home, cutting it up, and feeding it to my chickens. They'll eat anything that won't eat them first. So it's true. They'll eat any, you know, your compost is like fair game, right? So anything you put in your compost bucket to take out to the composter, check it out and say, oh, okay, you know, Hedwig would eat that and she'd eat that. And I've just found that I have to cut it up for her. She's a spoiled chicken. Probably not the case with your chickens anyway.